Hey guys, how are y'all doing? Welcome back to another video where I will be making a basic scripting project. After I'm done with this project, we will have built a fully interactive Bash user management script, functions for creating, deleting, and modifying users, a logging system to track actions, and security enhancements like sudo privileges or password enforcement. So let's get into it. So the first thing is, how do we write a script and get it to work? Well, the first step is to write the script. The second is to give the shell permission to execute it, and the third is to put it somewhere where the shell can find it. Now I will proceed with the first step, which is just starting to write the script. So the first step is setting up the script structure. And To do this, I will first create a bash script file, and I will do this by going to the terminal, going to the directory that I want the file to be created, and then I will use this command touch, which is the command that we use to create empty files, and I will name it user manager.sh. So as you guys can see here, it was created on a desktop. Now you guys, we will need to start writing now the commands and everything that will be in the script. However, you guys can either use this nano command, which will open the text editor for this file and allow you to write anything you want to it, or you can just do what I'm about to do and open it with mousepad. I'm gonna do it with mousepad because I enjoy the colors and everything when you write stuff. So the first thing that you need to do is you will need to add this to the file at the top of the file. And what this line does is it tells the system to use bash as the interpreter. Otherwise, we might have problems when we write the code and everything. The second step is displaying the menu. So for this, we will need to create a function, and I will name this function show menu. You guys can name it however you want. And in this function, I will create some echo statements where I will just print stuff, make it look nice at least on the terminal when you run this file. So it's just going to be some echo statement. So I'm just going to skip through this part and show you the end of this function. Okay, so guys, this is the show menu function. This is what it's supposed to output. So all these echo functions are uh, these echo statements are allow us to output stuff on the terminal. So I could show the output now on the terminal. However, I haven't made this file as an executable, and I think I will do this at the end when everything is done, so you guys will see the results at the terminal. Now I will write a while loop that allows us to see the menu or see these options get displayed to us again after you or after a user chooses an option and is over with that option. So we want this menu to show up again until the user enters 6, which will allow him to exit the script. So while true, and I will explain this at the end after I'm done writing the statement. So as you guys can see here, this is the loop that will keep showing the menu. So after the menu, after this thing here is shown, so I'm calling this function here. After the menu is shown, I will ask the user to enter their choice by doing this here. I ask the user to enter an input, a choice, and then I will save the choice in this variable here. And then for that choice, whatever the user has chosen, let's say 1, let's say that the user inputted 1, then this method here will be run. And if they choose 6, then they will exit this script. But if they choose anything else, then this output here will be delivered. Output this, yeah, will be delivered. So if you guys are wondering what this ESAC here is, it's just basically case written backwards, which indicates that the case block ends here, and done indicates the end of a loop block, whilst this here, this double semicolon, uh, so this ends the individual case option. So if this wasn't present here, if the user, let's say, entered 4, the list of users would be run, but also this here would be run, and it would stop here since there is a double semicolon. So it basically stops from like other functions happening apart from the one that the user chose. This is how like the case function works. Now step 3 is implementing functions. So all these functions that we have defined here, and I will start with the first function, which is create user. However, I will write it up here because when we run the script, this loop here will not recognize the function if I define it below it. So I will define it here at the top so it knows what is the function, like what's the name of the function and what it is supposed to do. So I will create the function again, and I will show you guys at the end what every line does. So guys, this is the create user function. So this is the name of the function, and this line here prompts the user to enter a username and saves it in this variable. And now this ID function here, it's a command that checks if the user already exists. So if this username already exists, then we will print this thing here, so the user and the username already exists. Otherwise, otherwise we will just create the user. So we will add the user with this username. We will prompt them to enter a password for this new user, and then we will prompt that the user was created successfully, and we will also record this in this log file here. So I have decided to create, as I said at the beginning of the video, that we will log something. So creating a user, deleting a user, giving them permission, we will log this activity in a file. And so if you guys are wondering like what does this M here, what does this do, like why doesn't, let's say, this password here doesn't have the /m as well? Well, what this here does is when you use the M option, the system will automatically create a home directory for the new user, and this new user will have their own personal space to store files and like configurations and stuff like this. And also, if you guys are also wondering about this part here, this just hides errors, so the script doesn't show unnecessary messages. Now, the second thing, or the next thing that I will do is create a delete a user function. So I will get back to you guys after I create the function. So guys, this is the delete user function. So as previously I said, we prompt the user to enter the username and save it here, the username that they want to delete, and we will check if the username exists or not. If it exists, then we delete it. So this here, this deletes the user and their home directory. So this R flag deletes the home directory that was created previously with this /m here. So we delete this username, we prompt, or we show that the username was deleted, and we record that a user was deleted in this log file. Else, if the username that we entered does not exist, then we will prompt that the user does not exist, and this file here just indicates that the if loop ends here. So now the third function that I will create is modifying the user permissions. So granting or revoking sudo. So when you create a user, you might want to grant them the sudo permissions or even revoke them whenever you want to. So that's the function that I will start creating right now. And I will get back to you guys again after I'm done with it. So this is the modify permissions function. So we first we ask for the username and check if it exists, and if it does, then we ask about the action that we want to proceed about that user. So do we want to grant that user sudo, or do we want to revoke it? So if we want to grant it, we just enter G, and if we want to revoke it, we enter R, and whatever the user enters is going to be saved in this variable here. If the action is G, then we add this user to the sudo group and then display that sudo privileges are given to this user. Otherwise, if R is entered for that user, then we remove the sudo privileges from that user and display that they have been revoked. But if we enter anything apart from G or R, then we will get this prompt here that we have entered an invalid option. And whatever we do, the log file that keeps track of what we do is going to have this printed there that we modify the permissions for a certain user. It doesn't really matter whether we uh, granted or revoked the privileges or the permissions. It's just going to know that some modification to the permissions of a user have been done. And if the user here does not exist, then we will print this here. Username doesn't exist. Now the fourth function is listing users. So this isn't long, so it's not gonna take too much, but I will be right back after I finish writing it and I will explain to you guys. So this is the list users function. It's pretty short. So basically we will, after the user asks for this function, uh, existing users will be shown or will be printed, and then we will use this here. So what this does is the cut command is used to split and extract specific fields from a file based on a delimiter. So the /d tells cut that the delimiter between fields in the file is a colon, and the F1 here specifies that you want to extract the first field from each line in this file here. So if you guys just go to the terminal and cut this file, you will see here, let's say, all the users that you have, and you will see here username, and you will see that split by this semicolon. And I don't remember, there are like other stuff, I don't know, like password and stuff like that. So everything is separated with this colon here. So this function here cuts everything from this colon and then takes only the first field, which is the username. And that's how it prints out all the users from this file, because the users are saved in this file. And lastly, the last function is checking if a user exists. So I will also get back really quick. It's pretty short, so you guys won't really have to worry about it, and we will be done. The only thing left will be making the file an executable, and then running it and checking, like playing with it, what we have created so far. Finally, there is the function that checks if a user exists. So we first we ask the user, whoever is running the script, okay, so enter the username, and we check if the username exists. If it does, then yeah, we will print that it exists, and if it doesn't, then we will print that it does not exist. And all this is done through this id function here. So now, guys, I will show you how to make this file an executable and be able to run it. Keep in mind, guys, that now I will proceed with the second step of how to write the script and get it to work, which is give the shell permission to execute it. So if we go to the terminal and check, okay, the file is there. So what we need to do now is write this. So what this does is, so chmod stands for change mode and is used to change the permissions of a file or directory, and plus x means add execute permissions. Now finally, we can proceed with the third step of how to write this script and get it to work, which is put it somewhere so the shell can find it. So since I'm going to run it manually, I'm gonna keep it in the desktop directory. However, if you guys want to run like automatically from anywhere, guys should place it in this directory, which is uh, us usr local bin. So guys, if you put it in this directory, then you can run it from anywhere by just typing the name of the file. So once you guys put it in there, you can just type user manager.sh and it will be run from any directory that you are. It doesn't matter. You don't have to go to that specific directory where the file is located. And yeah, this was the project that I had in mind. Now I will run it and show you how it works. So now if you guys want to see how to run it, you just type a dot and a slash, and then the name of the file, which is user manager.sh. So as you can see, guys, here we have the show menu. So this is what it's displayed. So now we will create a user first of all. So I will enter this name Bob. It doesn't matter. Oh, and it already exists. Okay, so another name. I don't know. Anna. Oh, sorry, one, and then the name is Anna, and now we need a password for Anna, so just enter a password. So now Anna has a password, and she is created successfully. So how do we know that she exists? Well, let's go and check if the user exists. So Anna, user Anna exists. Well, let's check the list of the users. So as you can see, Bob exists, Anna exists because it was created. Well, what permissions does Anna have? So to check the permissions, well, I will need to go out of this first. So to check the permissions, you just need to type groups and then the name of the user. So as you can see, it's not sudo because let's say, as you can see up here, there is a user named Kali. So when I enter groups Kali, it has sudo. It's part of the sudo group. So that means that Anna is not part of the sudo group. So if I go and run this file again and I want to, let's say, modify the user permissions for Anna. So I enter Anna and then I press G because I want to grant her sudo access and granted sudo privileges to Anna. So if we go out and check again groups for Anna, you can see now that it's part of the sudo group. So Anna has sudo permissions. So I will go and revoke the permission for Anna. Okay, so revoke sudo privileges from Anna. So if we check again the groups for Anna, so now it's Anna again, it doesn't have the sudo that it was here. And the last function is delete the user. So I want to delete Anna and user Anna is deleted. So now we can check it by two functions. So we can either use check if a user exists function, user Anna does not exist, or we can just list all the users and Anna is not here anymore. Lastly, I'm going to show you guys the log file that I implemented in the functions. So as you can see here, a user log.txt was created once one of the functions was run. So if I double click on this, you guys can see here, okay, so on this day and on this time, user Anna was created. Modify the permissions for Anna, modified permissions for Anna, and Anna, user Anna was deleted. So this was my project. If you guys have any questions, please let me know down below, and I thank you all for spending time from your day to watch my videos. Have a good one. Peace.